Welcome to Living from the Heart. I am your host, Tina Thrussell, co-founder of Best You Can Be and messenger of the Xin Dao, the way of the heart, the way of living with love, kindness, and compassion for yourself first, so that you can give from that overflow and be your best in the world and shine your light. Today, I am delighted to have Kim ONeill on the show. It's interesting. I met Kim virtually through my wonderful husband, Neil Thrussell, who had Kim on one of his shows and said, "You have to have Kim on your show. She's full of life and enthusiasm, and she's fun and has a big heart and perfect material for living from the heart." And so I am delighted to bring this transformational coach and show host herself. Um, and and I'm fumbling all over myself this morning. We all have those mornings. So before I bring Kim onto the show, I'm going to just invite you to receive a complimentary subscription to Heart and Mind Matters. This is an inspirational article, YouTube video, and quote of the week that goes out every other Tuesday morning by email. And it's yours complimentary at bestyoucanbe.ca. That's BEST, the letter U, CAN, the letter B.ca. And so, without further blah, blah, blah on my part, I'm simply going to bring Kim on screen and say, welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Tina. I'm so grateful to be here today. And I loved your intro. I think it was awesome.
Thank you. Well, it's really funny because you have those moments where you have these mental blips, and I'm going to say, and she's host of the, what's it called? It's a New Day, something about a new day. And I'm like, I'm not even going to say
it. No, I totally get it. As a host, same thing happens here. And it's interesting because as you're live, it's like, ooh, what do I do? Everyone just saw that moment, and it's okay. It's part of the fun of being live too. So great job.
Absolutely. Thank you. And it's part of the willingness to embrace who we are, really.
Yes.
Like all our flaws, all our foibles, to accept our imperfections and be confident that people will love us anyway. And it doesn't really matter if they don't, as long as we love ourselves and we're in our heart for us, right?
That's absolutely it. That's what it comes back down to. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So what does it really mean to embrace who you are and confidently, courageously bring forward in life? What's your take on that?
My take on that is you can't fully embrace who you are if you don't actually know who you are first. And so to me, that's where it begins. It begins on being clear on who you are. And there's many layers to that. I mean, there's the very humanistic side, all the roles that we play in our daily life, with our friends, our family, our work, our different perspectives that we have, any affiliations we may have with different groups. There are all these different little boxes we can put ourselves in as how we know who we are. And yet we can take it much deeper than that. It's so much more than any one of those. And, what is that for the individual? So my belief is that as you take it further and further, each person's going to eventually come to a conclusion that you are love. But each person's, allowed to have what is that thing that resonates most with them and to own and embrace that. And so first it starts with knowing who you are. And then the more you allow yourself to accept that, because it's one thing to know it and then go, ooh, but maybe I don't like it. Right. But the longer we're in that state, there's that sense of discomfort. And so the more you allow yourself to go, you know what, I choose to be in a space that actually feels better, that feels more natural, where there's greater ease. And that's going to come with accepting who you are. So the more you accept it, then the easier it is to actually just start to be in that energy, embrace it and embody it, and then be it. And so the more that you can be in your own energy and take action from that place, that's where you get to the space where you're embracing it because you're being it. And it just starts to become part of your natural essence that you emanate and live from. So that's what I mean when I say embracing who you truly are. All starts with, do you know who you are?
Do you know who you are? And once you know who you are, accept who you are.
Yes.
Boy, acceptance and ease, they definitely go hand in hand, right?
They do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's this beautiful flow of life that happens.
And I love, this is where, to me, this goes right in line with your show, Living from the Heart, is it's coming from that place of knowing who you are so much that you can love who you are. You can't fully embrace who you are if you are not even loving who you are. If you haven't found that ability to be in flow with who you are, it's not about coming from a place of, well, I know I'm this, I know I'm that. And then what does that mean? I'm going to do this next. It's not coming from the head. It is coming from that place of the heart and flowing with it. So to me, love is a huge piece of it. And I think that's also the kind of the beautiful mystery, or not beautiful mystery, but the beautiful message that comes through the more that you learn how to just embrace and be who you are, is recognizing, oh, wait, oh my gosh, I'm love. And I'll be honest, there was a time when that sounded so hokey to me, and yet I can't deny there's so much truth in that. It's a message that I think is a beautiful gift when the individual comes to recognize themselves as that. So.
Yeah, agreed. And I think every one of us who's on this path and has come to this place of loving who we are and accepting who we are, had this time in our lives where we went, yeah, right. All of that is hokey. I mean, Neil always says, no matter what the question is, the answer is always love. And that sounds so cliche and superficial until you really get it, until you feel it in your heart and you know that is actually truth.
It's what's so interesting to me is 20 years ago, I was taking some acting classes, and I, was looking to pursue more of that direction. And it's so interesting because way before that song from the Black Eyed Peas, "Where Is the Love," came out, I was in this acting class, and the teacher asked us, okay, wait a second. Where is the love? That was his question. Where is the love in this scene? Where is the love in this scenario? And it wasn't a romantic scene. It was literally just you being your character, embracing your role. Where is the love within that? Because once you add that ingredient, once you tap into that energy, just like you said, that's where the flow starts to come out. And then when you're in your own flow, that's when other people can even start to see you more clearly. That's when other people can start to respond to you more lovingly and from a more wholesome place, where you have the opportunity to now connect both of your hearts versus from a headspace and any judgments and things like that could show up from the headspace. So.
Beautiful. Yes, beautifully said. I love that. I love that story. Wow. Yeah. Who would think in an acting class? Right?
And I thought, even then, what is he talking about? I'd never heard anybody else say that. And such a difference. It became so much easier to naturally click into place and just be that role. Even though that was a role, it was so much easier to be that. So, it's just interesting, how much life love actually brings into a situation when you choose to be aware of it and embrace it, look for it, be it, and fuse situations with it. Yeah, makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm wondering if it's okay if I put a little message up that says for people to say hi in the chat box if they're out there watching.
Absolutely.
Then we know that they're there. We can sort of address any questions or comments or whatever. And in the meantime, I want to ask the question, so what do you do when you have those moments where you kind of forget who you are, or you forget that you're loved, and you're in that not accepting, crunchy, not flowing kind of place? What do you do personally to get back into that space?
I love that word, crunchy. That's awesome. Because that's what it feels like. It feels bumpy. It feels rough. It doesn't feel comfortable. I think the first and foremost, to remember that happens to all of us. that we have moments where, we have moments where we're flowing, and then we have moments where we're ebbing, and it's kind of rocky. And so to not be too hard on yourself. It happens to all of us. And so then what can get you back into that space of, there's two different ways to approach this. If you have the time to, just take a moment to rest, to pause, be present with yourself. If you have time to go meditate, which doesn't have to take a lot of time, just take a few moments to just, go within, get quiet and go, okay, that's okay. That's right. Let's bring back the love in. Who do I know myself to be? What does that feel like when I ground and center myself? One thing I love that Tina did for us, here right before we went live, is she took a few moments for us to just center ourselves, ground our energy. And that is such a beautiful gift for anything going on in your life. A gift you give yourself to center yourself and be present with who you are. So taking a few moments to do that. There are also times where you may be operating more from a headspace, and that's totally fine. Our brains are amazing and may find comfort and ease with connecting with those roles you play, right? Or those character traits about who you are. So like what I've done is I actually will put notes around my home, they're just for me. But things like, I am love, or I am creative. I am, and then, what is that next term? Like, what do I resonate with? I will put little notes around there. And then, when I see them, I'll say them again to go, that's right. Yeah, that's who I am. And what are those things that help you remember to who you are, from a mental place, from an energetic space? And then something and this comes to mind with Neil, I just did a Rise and Shine series where we talked about, okay, well then how do you feel in your body? Get playful and physical with it. And so would even bring in, what's your power pose? How do you feel? What does it look like to be you in your body if you were to put it into a pose? And so sometimes it might look like something like, just very centered and grounded. And other times it might look like, So what are those little things you can do to sort of snap yourself back into place and feel who you uniquely are again? Those are just some ideas and things that I do.
Beautiful. Love it. I love that. And I've encountered that one before. And again, that's one of the tools that I've often forgotten about. But that just like that power pose thing. Yeah, like, whoa, or whatever it is, right? It's like, yeah, I'm claiming me again. And it makes such a difference. It's just like an energy shift. Boom. And it's fast. It's like seconds.
Yes, I think that's the beauty of it. And then yet that's also what can make it be something to dismiss. Like, what? Kim's talking about a power pose. I have a real interview to go do. I have to be serious. I have to know how to talk about certain subjects and blah, blah. And, and if you just took a few seconds to go, like, I can do this, and stand in your energy, raise those arms up. What does that feel like in your body? You have such a stronger presence when you walk into that interview, when you go to shake that person's hand, because you're embodying you. It's you don't embody yourself from a head space. It's from an energetic being space. And so it can take a while to kind of shift our awareness and understanding of that. And that's okay too. But the more we can click into that place and realize, oh, that makes all the difference. It can be a fantastic tool then to bring into every situation in our life.
If anyone out there has been a regular viewer, they've seen now, I think, 38 episodes where in at least half of them, everyone's saying the same thing. Those mindfulness techniques, like get present, just stop, pause. I once did the 40-day program, which is a brilliant, brilliant synopsis of A Course in Miracles, covering all the content in 40 days. And one of the days she talks about the pause, with a capital T, capital P, the pause. Just stop, place your hand on your heart and feel that. Who's under that hand? Oh, this being of love is here. So simple and so powerful.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with that. That's something I do often for myself is one hand on my heart. And I also like to put my other hand on my abdomen
Mm.
and just connecting in. And especially in moments of anxiety, that can make a huge difference to go, okay, wait a second. No, just feel who I am in my body, just physically here as a physical body, a physical being here. Yeah, it's okay. And, what is this moment teaching me? What's the information that might be trying to come through here in this moment? Um, so yeah, it's so funny that you talk about those similarities with what guests say, because I have that experience a lot myself. So I totally get it. That message that keeps coming through is coming through for a reason. So that's beautiful about the pause.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this stuff works. We just have to remind ourselves to use it and not dismiss it because it's so simple and so fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ah,
Well, and the other thing I love is that it's the more that you allow yourself to be who you are, the more that you embrace who you are, allow yourself to practice being in your own energy, you start to build up your confidence in who you are. And so those things that you may have at one point been, like, ooh, that thing over there, that sounds really exciting and fun to do, but not for me. I'm too scared. I'm too terrified to even try it. It's like the more you start to embrace and embody who you are, you start to just build up your confidence and go, oh, wait a second. That thing that looked so scary before, ooh, okay, I still have a little level of anxiety about it maybe, but it now seems like a challenge, something that might even be a little fun for me to take on because I now have more belief in who I am. I now feel centered and just comfortable in being who I am, that, okay, you know what? I now feel like I can take a step closer towards that thing I want to do. So that's the other beautiful thing, is that it's not just about being who you are, although that alone is fantastic. You don't have to do anything else if you never ever want to. But those things that you want to do actually become easier the more that you practice being who you are in your own energy. So that's this like added bonus gift, is like it opens up a new world of things that you may have thought were like, that's not for me, but it sounds great. All of a sudden, things start to look different, and it's easier to be courageous and confident in who you are.
oh, that's beautiful. It's such a small difference between fear and excitement.
Yes.
Really. That fear, oh, I can't do this. But breathe, be in your power, be in yourself. And suddenly, yeah, there's the potential for it to be exciting and fun. And it might still be a little scary, but it's not debilitating scary. It's just, yeah, it's a little stretch. But the excitement and the fun of what could come from this, that's what makes us feel alive. That's where the passion in our life comes from.
Exactly. At that point, you're no longer blocking it. You're actually allowing it to flow. And so it's easier to feel that added level of excitement about that thing that maybe once seemed so scary. And I love what you're talking about. You gave a comparison between fear and something else. I forget the other one. That
Excitement.
If you're okay, right. Fear and excitement. So for me, I tend to think of it about the comparison between anxiety and excitement. I had a teacher a long time ago say that anxiety and excitement are really similar energies. It's just anxiety is unsupported excitement. And so I love that, because for me, I'm a very visual person. So for me, I get this visual of, that's right, the excitement is the one that's more supported, because now you're rooted in knowing who you are. You've already developed and built up a certain level of confidence in knowing, yeah, I can do things that resonate with me. Versus the anxiety, it's kind of like you feel like you don't have that support, or you don't have that proof or energy around you to go, is it okay? That permission to do those things that you want to do. And the excitement is where you do. And so without anybody else around you doing, changing anything about themselves and what they're doing first, you can start to step into that space of courageous confidence by practicing being who you are and owning that and gaining clarity on that all on your own first. So I love that.
That's beautiful. So I can see why you are a transformational coach, because these little tools could really transform people's lives, really change how they're living by giving them those self-empowerment tools to step more fully into life, to live more from their heart with passion.
They really make a difference. They really do. Again, it's not about anyone else around us changing who they are first. It's all about us. I love the word unbecoming. It's all about us unbecoming those things that we thought we were or had to be, and going, wait a second, what if I were to start to unravel some of that? Who am I underneath all the expectations or the limitations? Who am I really, and what am I capable of? And, I love the phrase, the sky's the limit, but there's another phrase a long time ago I heard about, the sky is not the limit. The sky is simply the portal to what's beyond. And, there are no limits. So
that's beautiful. Open possibility, unending possibility. Wow. That's an exciting way to approach life.
I think so too. I really think so. And if we look at it as we have one life, and of course there, can be other perspectives on that, but in this life that you're in right now, right? If this is all you really have is what's tangible and concrete, how do you want to make use of it? And I know how scary it can be to step outside of your comfort zone. But the thing is you don't have to force yourself to step into that terrified realm. You can start simply and easily by going, wait a second. Okay, let's just be more clear on who I am. I know what I desire, and now what's going to help me get closer to that? Yes, action steps, but what can even make me feel comfortable with taking that action step? Ooh, how about just being comfortable with where I am right now? And what does that mean? So there can be a lot to unpack in that, but just taking those baby steps and gaining clarity on what your own answers are with each of those. And then with each, new clarity that you have, it's like a light gets shown on, oh, okay, now I understand what Kim means when she says, knowing who I am beyond my roles. Now I get it. I sense it. Yeah, that's that intuition hit I had about something, but I discounted before, or I denied, but now I've been meditating a little bit and I get it now. It starts to make more sense. Just all these little things click into place and they add up to make a huge difference.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Before we run out of time here, because time does tend to get away on me, I want to let people know what's the best way to reach you. So through a website?
So the best way to reach me is they can go to KimONeill.coaching.com, and that's KIMONEILL coaching.com. They can also connect with me on Facebook at Kim ONeill Coaching. It's also titled the Every Day is a New Day show and coaching page. And feel free to also send me an email, KimONeill@outlook.com. And I love connecting with people and seeing how I can support them on their journey.
All right. That's awesome. So I've put your website on the screen. I've typed everything correctly, it looks like.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yay. Okay. That's great. Because I really believe in the power of coaching. To have someone who's there giving you little guidance steps along the way, holding you accountable for following through and using those steps and tools, it can make such a difference in your life. And so I encourage people to, if they resonate at all with who you are and your energy, and why wouldn't they? I understand why Neil said, you got to have Kim on the show. You do have very warm, lovable, approachable, fun energy, yet there is that power. There is that obvious that you do know who you are and you embrace who you are.
Thank you for that, Tina. You know what? And the thing is I really believe that every person this sounds so generic, but I have to say it. Every single person is so amazing. They really are. And so, when I can help someone be able to see that within themselves and feel more courageous in who they uniquely are, it's not about becoming someone that you're not. That's not it. It's never about changing who you are. If I could just be more like so-and-so. The thing that you love about so-and-so is probably that they are simply being who they are. So what does that mean for you? What does it look like for you? And it may not look like anybody else you see around you, because you are your own person. And so, that can be a little territory that seems challenging to step into, but that's what I love about coaching too, is that you have that support. No, it's okay. Yes, I see who you are too. And you absolutely have permission to be that. Coaching is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. You have permission to be that. And sometimes we need to hear that permission from someone else until we can get to the point of being able to give ourselves that permission, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's not about someone else telling you you can be you, but sometimes that's where it begins. It's like we might think that who we are somehow isn't okay or isn't acceptable in this universe based on whatever we've seen or experienced up to that point. And that's simply information. And absolutely, you still have a place in this world. And so your next step then is to learn how to be that. What does that mean for you? And it's a really wonderful gift to give yourself.
Yes, yes, it is. It is. I immediately was brought to mind. Derek was on my show several weeks ago, and he's a man that has fairly recently just started to discover who he is. But he gets it at such an incredibly deep level. It was so inspiring. And to see what can happen for someone. I mean, he went from serious addiction, like living a hellish life,
Wow.
to being on fire about, wow, when you love yourself, like the world changes completely and totally. And that's what I'm hearing you say too.
I love that you brought that up, Tina. Self-love is at the root of your confidence. It's learning how to be who you are. And as you're in that space, gaining comfort with it, you're learning how to love who you are. And absolutely. And I think too, another point I want to make is that there can be this disconnect of going, well, wait, I know who I am. I don't know what Kim's talking about. I know who I am. So then the next thing would be to ask yourself, okay, well then how am I being that? How am I showing up as that? Because that's where you might start to find a disconnect and go, oh, wait a second. I know who I am. And yet I'm not actually, being that. I'm not acting that out into the world, naturally. And so there might be a cutoff. There might be a block. There might be some sort of belief you have that, it could be a myriad of things, that it's not okay to be who you are, that maybe you think you are showing up as who you are. And yet the more you examine it and go, wait a second, no, I'm not. So what can I do today? What's one step closer to me being who I am? And that's when you start to bridge that gap. There was a time in my life where I had that disconnect. I felt like I totally knew who I was. And yet I realized, oh my goodness, no one else in my life knew who I was. And it was such an interesting realization. So I had to work on clearing out, some of those limiting beliefs and take some bigger action steps to embrace and embody more of who I knew I was. So yeah, there's a lot of different paths to really stepping into that energy.
Yes, there are many paths to the same destination. That place of love within.
Yes.
That place of living from our heart.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. I love the title of your show, Living from the Heart. That's absolutely where it's at.
It is what we're about, for sure. So we've got a couple of minutes left. Do you have a kind of a final closing message that you'd love to offer our?
There's another it's so funny. I feel like quotes come to me and then I remember half of them. So and this is one of my quotes, actually. What is my quote? My quote is, you have to embrace who you are first before anybody else can fully embrace who you are. And I think that really just encapsulates what we've been talking about this entire time, and yet highlights the importance of it all starts with the individual. As much as we may want other people to change or do something or say something different first, it all starts with us first. And the interesting paradox is that the more we start to take ownership of that and of who we are and embracing and embodying that and finding ease with that, then there also becomes a natural ease with other people being who they are and whether or not they even accept who we are. So that's the beauty and the paradox of that, but it all starts with the individual. And so what can you do today to love yourself more so that you can be more of who you are? Because really that's what the world wants, that's the world wants who you uniquely are.
Beautiful. Yes, that is so much the message of the Shin Dao. Shin means heart, and Dao is the way. The way of the heart is being in your heart, being who you are, shining your individual light for the world. And all of that delivered through the Best You Can Be vehicle is just a beautiful dovetail to everything you're saying and the work you're doing. And so, again, I encourage people to go to KimONeillCoaching.com and connect with this beautiful woman and see how she can help transform your life.
Thank you, Tina. I appreciate it.
I thank you so much for being here with us today, Kim. And I invite everyone to tune in next Wednesday, new guest, same topic, living from the heart with a different take on, and look forward to seeing you again. Ciao for now.